Hey, welcome to the Overshare Pamphlet. My name is Rob, and I'm the host of this one-man show. Hello. My holidays are done officially, so summer in my books is done. I mean, can we just quit it? Can we just go, um, and go ahead and take out all of our cardigans, pumpkin spice lattes. Um, I'm seated. I'm seated for autumn. I'm done with the heat. Enough. Even though I just came to London, I just came back to London. It's 20 degrees in here, and compared to Italy, which was 37, I'm blessed here. But I'm done. I'm done with the summer. Let's skip to hot girl fall. Let's just forget about August. I don't know. August is fun though. Well, actually, never mind. I'm going to the Eras tour. So after the Eras tour, I think we can just end summer right there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyways, today's episode, we're gonna talk about something very intriguing, and we're back with I think, is this a reoccurring segment? I think it might be, because it might be a third episode in this format, not format, but topic wise, I guess. I'm gonna talk again about K-pop drama, K-pop news, or whatever, something K-pop related in that sense, a full episode on that. So yeah, it's the third episode I'm doing on K-pop. The first one I did was on the hype and the New Jeans drama, and that's probably one of my most successful episodes, weirdly enough. So go check it out if you haven't. I don't know why it's everyone is clicking on that one still to this day, but I don't know, give it a try. And then I did also another one which is quite closely linked to the episode I'm gonna be recording today. The second episode I did on Kpop Drama was about SSERAFIM possibly standardizing, because, well, I had a bigger conversation about K-pop and girl groups there, but standardizing mediocrity and, looks and, aesthetics over raw talent, or, proper singing abilities, whatever. So today we'll be actually continuing on to that, building up on that, because basically SSERAFIM, if you don't know about SSERAFIM, it's a 5-member group from Hype and basically Source Music Entertainment, which is a sub-label. Well, originally it was a separate label, but it was bought by Big Hit Entertainment, which owns BTS. Very confusing, but Hype is the mother label, the bigger label here, and they bought a bunch of labels, which includes Source Music, and they debuted this very famous group, which is SSERAFIM. But anyways, I'll get into the whole shebang later, but today I'll be discussing their documentary, which came out last Monday, I believe. 5 episodes. I've watched all of them, and I have quite a lot of thoughts, especially after seeing what's going on online and the commentary and just the general reactions of the public and the fans and just K-pop fans in general. So, well, before we get into that, songs of the week, of course, I'm going to start a new playlist today, which is the playlist for the month of August, because this is going to be my first episode of the month. So, one of the songs I want to talk about is Scarecrow by Kwone-chan and Wonstein, I don't know. But you can find the song on the playlist, of course. You just have to type on Spotify, the Overshare Pamphlet, songs of the week, and then, the month we're in. So yeah, Scarecrow is a Korean R&B chill type of track. Is just very piano heavy, but very lighthearted and very, chill. Just a great vibe overall. I made a post on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Rob's called out JPG. And yeah, this is the perfect vibe for any Instagram post, to be fair, but also the song itself is just very cool, very vibey, very summery, very chill. So I don't know. I just like I've been gravitating towards these tracks a lot. So this is a prime example of like something that I've been enjoying lately. So oh shit. But either way, I think that this is like a perfect track if you want to like chill in the sun or go to a park and like maybe even just read a book, whatever like floats your boat in that sense. But this is a very chill track. Period. Um, then I want to talk about Night Train by Milena, and I assume she's also Korean because she's some of the songs I believe are in Korean. I may be wrong with a different artist, but either way, I don't know much about the artist per se, but I love this track. It's very jazzy. Um, I've been getting into a lot of jazz, weirdly enough, but more specifically, more like I don't know if you guys know about lyricist by Heide, but it's like that type of jazz bar music, if that makes any sense. I'll put it into the playlist so you guys can like go and listen to it. It's like very typical jazz that you could find like in a bar. I just love the vibe personally, and it is a very cool concept as well. Like the night train, like it does fit the vibe actually. Like it does fit like the vibe of a like traveling at night or something like that. Like whenever I listen to a song, I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to be like in a car driving at night or something, and just enjoying some good music. So yeah, like this is that type of track, I guess. Like very mellow and jazzy, very drummy in that sense, like a lot of hi hats. So it's just very cool. I don't know if you guys are into jazz at all. I guess I've always been kind of like into jazz because my dad specifically loves jazz. I've always listened to it because he put a lot of like used to put a lot of songs like that on like in the car or whatever. But I never fully like reached out and like tried to find new stuff either through like Spotify or whatever back in the days as well. But then I think also when Lueve put out. Wait, is that how you pronounce it? I'm getting mixed up with the brand Loewe, but I think it's like spelled like Love. I'm not sure, but she's Icelandic. Whatever her name is, like from Iceland. So you guys know what I'm talking about probably. But either way, ever since she put out the like Bewitched album, I've been back on my like jazz game, and recently in Italy I was just like feeling all the jazzy vibes from the scenery. I've been to the beach, so I was just getting inspired by the weather and the environment and everything else. So that's probably like the first track is also very ambient in that sense. But yeah, so that's another Slay. Go listen to it. It's quite a cool track. Um, I think she also has on other songs like My Space as well, but I think this one speaks to me the most in that sense. So yeah. Um, Another track is Summer Song by Remy Bond. This is like a very Lana Del Rey coded track. Just like in the way she sings about it. Maybe even the lyrics, to be fair. Like it's a very I would say character driven song in that sense, very femme fatale in that sense, and very Lana Del Rey, I guess. I don't know, just the way she sings as well reminds me so much of Lana, in a good way, and it kind of is also a summer song to be fair. So, yeah, like go check it out. I think I found this one through TikTok. Um, uh, was probably like an influencer that I follow. I'm not really sure, but they used this song, and I was like, oh, is that Lana Del Rey? And then I went to check it, check the song, and I was like, nope, but it does sound like her. And you know what? Closing up. Welcome back, Lord. What? Not Lord. Well, anyways, and yeah, period. So that's the third song I think of that I put in. Um, well, I want to skip this one because this is like a. I wanted to put this one, but like the next one, but I think it's more of a instrumental track, and I do not want that. Um, you know what? Let me talk about. I think I'm gonna put Guess featuring Billie Eilish in it, because it's been growing on me. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I first bashed the song. Well, I still stand by the fact that I think the first portion of the verse, the Billie's verse, is a bit underwhelming. I would say, not necessarily like I said on Twitter by the lyrics per se, but more so the delivery. I wish you could have done a bit more in terms of delivery, but then like the second part of the verse where she goes like lick a spit or whatever, and then she ends the verse whatever, that ate down. I can deny that ate down. So yeah, I just wish she did a bit more. She had a more dynamic approach to her verse, I guess. But we get what we get, and I think the video is very iconic. Personally, I think the outro is actually the best part of the song, where they start repeating gas, 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 and the beat is so good as well. I think Phineas, like Billy's brother, also sort of like collaborated on the remix. Like he also produced a bit of the remix. I think that the Dare, of course, was on it because he produced the original track as well. But yeah, like very funny, like very silly track, very fun track. I loved Gas even before the remix. It was such a good track. I think everyone loved it on release as well. Um, yeah, that's a cool track. I think also want to address how people are reacting to the song here. Some people are saying that she is assaulting Charlie XCX on the track because at the end of her verse she says Charlie likes boys, but she knows I'd hit it, right? So what's wrong with that? First of all, it's Charlie's song, and she willingly put Billie, and she knows about the verse because she approved of the verse. So clearly, Charlie's okay with Billie saying that. Second of all, I bet my ass that if it was a male rapper or whatever saying a line like that at Charlie, you guys wouldn't bat an eye. You guys wouldn't say anything. You guys wouldn't literally say anything at all. Like, you guys want queer people to act, to not act queer, you know? You want queer people to stay in their lane or whatever. Like, as soon as queer people start acting queer, you guys freak the fuck out. Like, what? Just, that's such a, funny thing to say as well. Like, you guys are making such a big deal out of literally nothing. So yeah, that's my single thought on the whole situation. But yeah, I still remember how like you guys dragged Billie when she did what was the song? Lost Cause on her previous album, on Happier Than Ever, where she had a video on YouTube where she was basically only with girls and they were all being very sexual and whatever, and you guys were calling her out because she was queer baiting or whatever. And now that she's actually out, you forced her to like actually come out. You're now switching back up and saying like, "Oh, this is very inappropriate." What you're saying, that's like, bitch, pick your lane, choose your struggle. Like, you cannot start doing all this, and then pull back. Like, also let her be. Like, it's her sexuality. She does whatever the fuck she wants with that. So I don't know. You guys just make a big deal out of like literally nothing. But apart from that, these are the songs of the week. As I said, you can find it on Spotify. I'll be updating it every episode, of course. So yeah, these are the first 4 tracks. Now, I guess we can just like move on to the main topic, which is of course Le Seraphim's documentary. I think it's called "Make It Look Easy" because it's actually, you gotta give it to them. Like, it's a very smart title because it's a lyric from their latest song, which is "Easy," but it's a play on word because the song is very braggadocious and like saying like they make shit look easy and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. But then the title here means that they make their job look easy while like behind the scenes, because it's a documentary about the behind the scenes. Basically, they are struggling with a lot of things, and it's not as pretty as it looks. So it's just like, a lot of that basically. So yeah, the title A Down, but the main thing that I want to talk about is basically, well, what is the purpose of the documentary, and as it fulfilled its role, and was it necessary, and how are people reacting to this? Like, I want to talk about all the surrounding things. I'll of course touch up on like some of the moments in the documentary, but I don't want to talk specifically about too much about what's going on. I'm not going to review basically the plot of the documentary, because I mean, as I'll brush over it basically very briefly, so you'll see what I mean by that. But anyways, before I get into that, who is SSERAFIM? Like, what are we talking about here? So SSERAFIM is a group, fourth gen K-pop group, which means it's a group that debuted like 2020, I think, something like that, some time ago. Basically, they're not necessarily like the oldest K-pop group on the scene, but they're not exactly the newest either. But they are definitely right now. Well, they used to be. We're not really sure at the moment where they're standing, but especially 2023, 2022, they were probably one of the biggest girl groups on the scene, alongside aespa and IVE. I would say those were the three main fourth gen groups that were dominating, and New Jeans, of course. So, well, then it's five, but whatever. Sorry, four. I can't even count anymore. What the fuck? Shit. Anyways, so this group has been through a lot of drama, even from their debut. As I recounted in my previous episode, they lost a member as soon as they debuted, and then they went through a lot of scandals because of their live performances, especially their live vocals, and basically having quote-unquote weak live vocal ability in that sense. In my previous episode, I also said that they are a very performance-heavy group in that sense. This does not justify, of course, the lack of ability to actually sing a song that they recorded, in my opinion. But just when you judge their performances, just keep that in mind. Their specialty in that sense is to perform and to dance and to provide that specifically. But they have been through hell, basically, specifically because, right after their Coachella performance that I talked about in the last Kpop Drama episode. Their live singing was off key, and they were not really that good. And of course, everyone was getting mad as to why they were chosen to, appear on the Coachella stage right after Blackpink, like as the next K-pop group, when Blackpink did such a good job, like entertaining the crowd and live singing and all this stuff. But the SSERAFIM, they fell short in that sense. They were not really that good singing live. Of course, dancing was incredible, but people were very mad that there was since usually K-pop performances are very much lip synced. As of now, they haven't gone into much trouble apart from some encore stages, but they've been called out, and there's been a lot of hate thrown at them. Some of it, well, none of the hate is justified, but the criticism, I think, is justified in a way. Like the criticism, the constructive one, is actually very well justified because they were consumers, and we want to have a say on what we consume, right? But I think the hate itself is just unjustified. It's always unjustified. You cannot just simply tear down people and just insult people for free, basically. You are a mean person, and you should probably go and look into the mirror and see what's wrong with you before actually speaking up. But I do want to say that I do agree with some of the criticism. When you go on stages like this, especially in front of American crowds and European and Western crowds, you have to be very well prepared and very well equipped to sing live, because that's our standard here. It's a bit different from K-pop standards. Whenever you perform in K-pop stages, in Korea, people know what they're getting into. They know they're going to get into a stage and have a lot of lip-synced performances, and it's more about the visual aspect rather than anything else, live and raw vocals. But when you perform in the US and everything else, we do love to hear singers sing, right? So I think that's the major issue here, that they were perhaps not properly suited or prepared enough to actually perform on a stage like Coachella, and that literally basically raised an entire debate on whether nowadays K-pop is mostly like interested in providing a visual group and like an aesthetically pleasing group with very like subpar level of skills, but they just simply provides a commercial song, right? Or whether we want to go back to having live skilled singers that can actually sing live and perform just as much as they did on a recorded track, right? So so that was sort of like a summary of what happened before and what I discussed also in my previous episode. I also discussed on like other groups who were like actually counter marketing this by instead showcasing very much like their talents live. So go, if you're interested in that, go listen to that. But I'm gonna delve more into like what happened now, basically. So right after the scandal, and the Coachella specifically scandal, the group has been quiet, I would say, for quite a while. Rightfully so, because they were trying to like, I guess specifically their team was trying to like regroup and see what they could do next to save face and regain the public opinion, the positive the respect of the public, and after sort of like a long wait, I would say, we finally got something, which is a documentary, right? This documentary is a 5-part documentary. Each episode is like roughly just below half an hour, basically, and it follows the girls, and it's mostly about the performances and like the behind the scenes right before their previous comeback and the Coachella and everything else. They don't actually address Coachella. They don't actually address that scandal. They don't even address the accusations, like the hate from the Christian community from their previous video, which I think is actually not well founded. Like I think that's stupid, but whatever. The criticism is stupid, but anyways, they don't actually address any of those specific criticisms, but they want to showcase basically the behind the scenes of the lives of all the 5 members. And so we go through like rehearsals, like recordings, and even group activities, touring, MC activities, everything that happens behind the scenes. And as any celebrity, I guess, like documentary, you see the very low points of the performing aspect, and then the behind the scenes of preparing for a performance, being sick, being ill, losing confidence and regaining confidence, and like doing it for the fans. All those like tropes are still in this documentary. I think what people were really rubbed the wrong way about was the fact that they chose this angle, I would say, to reply to the criticism. Because this is definitely a reply to the criticism, like in a way, like it's a marketing move in a way to show them as vulnerable and like their low sides and everything else. People were saying instead that they're trying to like gain sympathy points, and I can kind of see both sides. Both the side is saying like they're trying to gain sympathy points, but also the side that is saying like you guys are hating on this young girls for no unduly and like for no reason. As I said, like no amount of hate is tolerated here. Like I don't think it's a good idea. Like it's specifically if you're dealing with like very young people, I think it's the last thing you want to do is like to tear them even further down. Like it's just weird behavior to be so obsessed about hating on literal children. And I mean, one of them is, I think, he's underage as well, and some of them are like teens, and some of them are like just above 20. So I don't know, like that part I don't condone it. But I said before, I think the criticism is well founded in a way, and I think what I personally would have loved to see more was, I don't know, sort of like a Dua Lipa move in a way. You know how Dua Lipa got hated so much for having no stage presence and being unable to dance properly and all that stuff. Like, you know what she did? She didn't put out a full documentary apologizing and showing all the reasons why nothing has been going well and all that stuff. Like, she just worked on it and came back with Future Nostalgia and proved everyone wrong that she can dance and she can put up a performance and all that. So I kind of wish they did that instead of like going into the documentary. I would have still preferred the documentary maybe later on after a comeback, but I would have first hit the public back with like reply to the criticism by showing off that they can actually sing, they can actually perform live properly. I mean, there are some sprinkles of that in the documentary, mostly of them rehearsing in dance rooms and all that stuff, singing live, and they sound good, but that's not what we wanted. That's not the point of the criticism, right? Like, hate aside, what we wanted was we wanted them to like actually sing, like be more well trained on the live performance and the singing live specifically, right? But instead what we got was like an apology basically, or like documentary showing us their their struggles and all that, which I commend them for still like showing in a way and still like going ahead despite the struggles. But I think it's not like good enough of a reply to the criticism, I do think overall it's like a good, a good showcase of what like being an idol generally is like. I think if you know something about K-pop, or like if you've been a fan for a while, you know that every single idol goes through these things that are shown in the documentary. Yes, they've not been shown to this extent maybe, but you've seen a lot of idols like fainting and like having health issues and having to like step out of the spotlight for a while before recovering and all that stuff. But I think it doesn't really, the documentary doesn't really address the problem specific to the group itself, like to the SSERAFIM itself, right? It just glosses over generally like what it's like being an idol and all the struggles, but it doesn't really, I think the whole point of the documentary is actually to like, say that, look, you judge K-pop idols so much, but we are actually, real people struggling, working insane hours, and we have a lot to like, uphold in that sense, which is fair and, commendable, of course, but I don't think it really solves the issue that is affecting the group specifically. Like, yes, it's a good portrayal for all idols, but it doesn't really help SSERAFIM per se, yeah, I mean, and if you think that they should not address it or whatever, then they should have not made a documentary in the first place, because this is definitely a marketing tactic in any way to win back the public's favor. Yeah, so as you can see from the discussion online, it hasn't gone down the way they wanted to, perhaps, so it's a bit weird. I see both sides in a way. I think it's a good account of their abilities and like how much they work on it, but it doesn't really, I guess, satisfy the public with what they actually wanted, which was, I don't know, a showcase of change and whatever. Just, prove your haters wrong and show growth. That's what they should have done, I think, in my opinion. But and they do read everything. They show you that they do read everything that we write online. So they're pretty much aware of like even this, I assume. So I hope that they can catch a hint and like do something about it. But I'm not sure if now it's too late. Who knows? I also want to briefly touch upon Sakura's portion of the episodes, specifically her struggles with like live singing and her perspective of being an idol. This lady is quite old in like when it comes to like general standards, I guess, of K-pop idols. She's been through so many different phases of her life. She was in J-pop, Japanese pop group. She's Japanese actually for the longest time, and then she moved to Korea through a survival show. She debuted under this very famous group called IZ*ONE, and then she re-debuted under SSERAFIM here. And so she's been through so many different, places. Supposedly she's the one who has the most experience in this thing, but it seems like she has actually the least confidence between all the girls, and actually she's not really as skilled when it comes to live singing compared to the other girls as well. And they've shown some clips basically where she is saying that basically she's scared of singing live and she loses confidence whenever she has to sing. And people online were saying, well, I don't care. Like, you chose this job. You aren't, if you're not fit for it, you should give up. Basically, you should, leave your spot to someone else who actually deserves to be there, basically. And it's kind of harsh. But I don't know. I think the reason why she debuted in this group was specifically because of her name and her reputation in a way, like her experience, and she was a very, very well established idol already in Japan and Korea in a way. So she had a lot of assets to her name, and marketing wise, it's a smart choice to have her there because this group has had a guaranteed success in Japan. Like, they've been charting in Japan non-stop. They've been, garnering a lot of fans from there as well. So it was a very specific strategic move from the label, and I sort of see why they did it. But at the same time, the age gap between her and the other girls is quite interesting. And I do feel like she has improved a lot. I do remember when I saw her on the survival show that formed the previous group she was in. She was starting off with very low skills because Japanese J-pop idols are not as performance heavy as K-pop is, but she caught up on the performance aspect quite easily. I think even that's why she improved so much. But I think the problem is that her singing, her vocal ability is simply not that unique and not there specifically, and no shade at all towards her. I think it is I can fit well in the group, and I think the main problem here is not her, but what the label wants for the group to be. Like, the idols at the end of the day, which is a very sad part of it, of the whole K-pop experience, the idols are pretty much blank canvases that are basically put together to form whatever concept, to adapt to every concept that the label wants them to basically conform to, right? So it really depends on what was the vision of the label and what they wanted from the group itself. And I think if their goal was to have this picture perfect group and marketing and name wise to be strong, but without necessarily investing too much in the skills level, then I guess this is what we got, But I mean, this doesn't mean that they cannot improve. Of course, I think they can definitely at least show that they are working on it and they are actually getting better and they can actually sing live. But yeah, I think the major issue was that the group was first put out to be this very aesthetically pleasing and very visually appealing and performance heavy group, but they did not really maybe envision, I guess, performing in the US or in Western markets and having to uphold a certain quality standard. I mean, if they perform in their own concerts, that's gonna be fine because they choose how to produce the performances and if they have backing vocals or whatever. But once they go to festivals, it's out of the bag, they have to show their actual talents, and it's a scary moment, of course. And I think that all the hate is just horrible for these girls. It must have been a crazy time for them. But I do wish that the label, maybe instead of trying to make a documentary about the whole thing that is actually not related to the hate itself or the issue at hand, they tried instead to actually prove the people wrong and come back with a song that maybe is like a very very like vocally demanding, but also they can actually perform live, and maybe go on like different shows and like show they can actually, sing properly, and just learn from the criticism, discard the hate, and prove the haters wrong. That would have been so empowering also for the girls, I think, instead of just going on to like this like shame parade in a way, I guess, on the documentary, which again does very little in terms of addressing the actual issue. So I don't know. It's quite a difficult topic, I would say, but I think and yeah, I just saw online that they just announced a comeback. So I guess the proof will be in the pudding, and we'll have to see how people react first of all to this song. If it's already too late after this documentary to actually like win back the favor, or if, and also I'm very curious to see what direction they're choosing for the comeback. If they're actually trying to like prove like the haters wrong in that sense and giving us a very vocal heavy song, then it will be cool. But yet again, we have to see how the people, like how the general public reacts to that. I think that if they stick to their own lane, whatever, I'm very doubtful if in case they like of them get like managing to surpass this and like get over it. So who knows? It's a difficult time for them. I'm praying for their recovery from this slump. And I do wish that people were like a bit less harsh when it comes to the hate and more like critically receptive. But who knows? We'll see what happens with the comeback, I guess. It's going to be an interesting one. But either way, I think my main takeout basically is that they should have done something different. They should have done a bit more. I think this type of documentary also is very useful when you're like very much long into the game and you want to show all this, or like as I said, like it would have been nice to have it added maybe after they've had their comeback or something, or like actually maybe if you want to do a documentary, just actually show what went down behind Coachella and behind the music video scene in the church, whatever, all that backlash about the Christians like hating on that because they filmed in a church, whatever. Like to actually show the issues at hand instead of just like glossing over previous experiences of the idols, instead of actually and that will kind of relate to it, but not really, So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a very interesting, definitely a very interesting thing to look out for. Especially the chatter online is always something that I look into on Twitter. People are saying basically the craziest shit ever. So I am intrigued. To see what happens next. Yeah. Anyways, I will be doing another episode tomorrow, probably either tomorrow, recording it tomorrow and coming out Tuesday, or recording it on Tuesday and dropping it on Wednesday. I'm not really sure when exactly, but I will do a second episode for the week because House of the Dragon is ending tomorrow, and I have been following this TV show so much, and I've seen a lot of also different takes on the show, and I want to talk about the entire season. So I'll probably do that. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it, the second episode in the week. If not, it will be the next episode anyways, because I think I really want to talk about this. But anyways, look out for that. Look out for my playlists, of course. And you can follow me on all the social medias that you want. I'll leave, as usual, the handles for my social medias under the description of each episode. So you can just go and follow me there. But yeah. I'm also gearing up for the Eras Tour. Probably will be doing an episode about that. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. It really depends. I mean, I think it's been talked it's been talked about quite a lot, the tour itself. So we'll see what happens. But if there's any surprise at the at the show that I'm going to, I'll probably make an episode of that as well. But yeah, apart from that, have a great week ahead, guys, and enjoy. Enjoy. Bye.